Shalom, people. What's going on today? I'm just back with the part 2 of Wisdom of Solomon. What we're gonna be talking about in the Wisdom of Solomon, I'm going from Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10, verse 6 through 9. 1 through 5 is gonna be posted in a short while. Give me a second. I'm gonna do this part 2. After this part 2, I'll do another part, and at least we can be able to be caught up. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High Father God, who we call Ahaya Ashar Ahaya. I want to give all praises and glory to Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya, who we call Jesus Christ. I want to thank the Holy Spirit for guiding all of us towards this truth to do it, which is the W.O.S. And we're going to get into it. This is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, and this is verse 6. When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man who fled from the fire, which fell down upon the 5 cities. Verse 7. Of whose wickedness, even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul. Verse 8. For regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. That was the Wisdom of Solomon, verses 6, 7, and 8. And that particular topic of what she is talking about was Lot. And that whole situation with Lot is a very clear-cut, good example, or to understand the things that we are doing today. Lot had an opportunity to be able to come out of a land called Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, if you read Genesis chapter 19, verse 24, God burnt that land down. But there was a couple of things that had to go on. And we're going to get into a couple of precepts just so I could be able to so you could be able to understand, one, the land of Sodom and Gomorrah and why God turned it and burnt it down. Two, how he saved a man that was in that land who did righteous acts, but yet he confounded or lied to his own self. And a lot of times, when God is trying to do a thing to us, we can't go against that. We got to listen to the words of the Father at all times. I can't just say, all right, the Father said keep the Sabbath day, but what if he said that was then? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're supposed to keep this for generation upon generation. So when God came to this man, or sent his 2 angels to this man, save him up out, come on. Being that I seen that you was righteous, I'm going to save you and your family, and y'all going to come up out. But this man here was given a commandment. The first commandment was to run up out the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, run to some safety, and don't look back. His wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. The land of Sodom and Gomorrah had so many wicked devices of things that you wouldn't even imagine. But yet, it left a memorial because still we are following those same guidelines that Sodom and Gomorrah is doing. It's the reason why in Revelations, God says, I'm going to burn this land. Because y'all just like Sodom and Gomorrah, but y'all don't hide it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into a few precepts. We're going to go to, give me Genesis chapter 18. This is Genesis chapter 18, verse 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom in Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous. At the end of the day, it vexed God to hear the things and to see the things that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm gonna explain it to you, and I'm gonna pull it out of the book so you could be able to understand exactly what was going on. We're gonna go drop down to 25 and 26. That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? In 26, and the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. So at the end of the day, he's letting it be known, yo, listen, Abraham was asking because he knew his nephew is in this land and God is about to tear this down. But at the end of the day, Abraham is trying to make a supplication for his nephew. And when he made this supplication for his nephew, God is letting him know, if I find 50 righteous people in that city, I'll save them. You dig what I mean? I'll bring them up out. So we're going to go to Luke chapter 17. This is Luke chapter 17, verse 32. Remember Lot's wife? So we are breaking down the wisdom of Solomon from verse 6 through 8. And like I said, that conversation was about Lot and his wife. And at this moment in time, when God decided to, okay, I'm going to do a thing. I found that y'all was righteous. And because I found that y'all was righteous, Lot did a thing, which was he offered his 2 daughters to the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in exchange for their angels' safety. And because of this thing, I found that your family was righteous people. So come on. But remember, do not look back, because if you look back, you're going to turn into a pillar of salt. Still to this day, that is a monument standing for people who don't believe, people who don't listen, people who want to be disobedient. Because at the end of the day, when I tell you to do a thing, I mean it. So because of this, Lot was turned into a pillar of salt. Why would Christ tell you, remember Lot's wife? Why would he tell you that? And just leave it at that? Probably walked off on you. You dig what I'm saying? So we're going to go into the next precept because I want you to understand something. Go to 2 Peter chapter 2. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 7 and 8. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. Understand that when he did this particular act, that conversation that Peter is letting you know, he was vexed with the conversation that he had. If you went to Genesis chapter 19, verse 17 through 22, you would listen to that conversation. I'm going to summarize it, but those that are watching, listen or read the conversation, and you're going to hear what's going on. 2 angels came into the land of Sodom and Gomorrah and seen that this family was a righteous group of people. I'm going to save you guys. And I told them, run to the mountain for safety, but don't stay into the plain area. You dig what I mean? Lot goes and says, well, being as though you're going to save us or whatever from this ungodly land, you telling me to run to the mountain, I don't think I'm going to make it. I think something evil is going to happen to me. So what I'm going to do is, I see this little land over here in this little desolate area. I'm going to go over there. Okay, that's cool. So the angel is looking like, here it is. If I'm telling you, I'm going to save you from the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, what makes you think that I'm going to let any other evil happen to you after the righteous act that you just did? You see what I'm saying? We got to watch the thing that we say. God is not going to just save you from one situation and then not redeem you from another. You dig what I'm saying? Let me explain it to you why I'm saying that. Now, again, that conversation that Peter is telling you, how he was vexed with that conversation, the vex of that conversation, if he'd have ran to the mountain instead of going into the plain area, he would have, one, met up with his uncle Abraham, and once he met up with his uncle Abraham, he would have been under the circumcision, because around that time, Abraham was doing the circumcision. So God was making a covenant with Abraham. Lot could have been in that covenant and he wouldn't have made the mistake of sleeping with his two daughters. Abraham would have found him a woman and he would have been able to be prosperous up under us. But again, though, when you don't listen to instruction and you make up a conversation for yourself and you tell God, nah, God, I don't think I could be able to do this. But you know what? If you give me this, I'll be okay with that. God is going to give you exactly what you desire in your heart. But understand this. This is what you ask for. So when it destroys you, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to read that conversation, it's Genesis chapter 19, verse 17 through 22, to understand what 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 7 and 8 is talking about. But let me give you a clear cut of why that conversation, you should never want to fall into that. Go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, verse 2, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Verse 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me. That is the very first commandment. So here it is. If God was taking out Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah and to save his life, and he told him, gave him a strict commandment on where to go, you decided to have another conversation and say, nah, you know what? I think this would be better for me. How do you know what's right for your soul? If God gives you a direct commandment, follow that commandment, because he sees all things. You can't see what God sees. So this is the reason why God gave us a commandment when we in the wilderness for 40 years. I want you to understand, do not have no other gods before me. If I tell you to do a thing, you better do it. And I'm not playing. Don't turn from the right hand. Don't turn to the left hand. Follow me, right? So we're going to go to the precept on that. Go to Psalms chapter 40. This is Psalms chapter 40, verse 4. Yeah. 40, verse 4. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. If God would have told me and Lot that situation, and Lot would have said, you know what, I think he's on some evil going to happen to me, let me go that way, I'd have been like, peace, Lot. I'm going the way where this angel told me to go. If he's going to save me from this, I'm going this way. I'm not following you, Lot. You bugging. You know what I'm saying? This is what we have to take heed of. If God gave us a commandment and you know you trying to follow it, but your brother is saying, nah, you ain't got to follow it like that, that man is part of the serpent. You better fall back, right? If he don't add some wisdom to the wisdom that you are adding towards of God, then fall back, man. Don't listen to nobody else's lies. Don't let nobody deceive you and get you out of your comfort zone of actually following that first commandment, which is to have no other gods before me, not even your brother. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go to the next precept. Give me Proverbs chapter 10. This is Proverbs chapter 10, verse 32. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness, disobedient. So when he told this man to run into the mountain and don't go into the plain, how can you actually utter your words to an angel and say, nah, I don't think that's going to be good for me. Some evil going to catch me and, I might not make it. No, you will make it. It's just that you don't want to go there. You don't want to be obedient to the cause or to the actual fact. Dig what I'm saying? So if we start getting back to that first commandment, which was given to us in Exodus chapter 20, if we get back to that first commandment and keeping and making sure that we don't have no other gods before us, it's nothing that we can't do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a little juice or a little taste of what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is in the book of Joshua. Understand that this book was given to Joshua, who was our leader, who helped us take over this land when we crossed over Jordan. Moses died before that. So with Joshua taking us over into the land so we could be able to take it over, we have to understand something. The angel, just as the Lord was with Moses, he also said, I'm going to be with Joshua too. So when God gave Moses the book of Jubilee, he also gave Joshua, our next leader, the book of Joshua. Because of the fact there was a war that was going on. There's a lot more that you missing that's not in the Bible. And because of that, so he wanted you to take on the foreknowledge of him, to understand, to seek it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you a little bit of what was going on in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah at that time. When God was letting it be known, the cries of Sodom and Gomorrah is so grievous to me. I can't take it. And part of the conversation or the things that Lot learned was from Sodom and Gomorrah. And still to this day, we still take on certain likes and certain aspects of Sodom and Gomorrah. So in the book of Joshua, this is chapter 18, and I'm going to read from verse 11 to 15. In those days, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and all of the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. And they provoked the Lord with their abominations. And they strengthened and agonied abominably and scornfully before the Lord. And their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Lord. Verse 12. And they had in their land a very extensive valley, about a half day's walk. And in it there were fountains of water, and a great deal of harborage surrounding the water. Verse 13. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in the year with their wives and children and all belonging to them. And they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. 14. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some, the virgin daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor, and did not say a word. Verse 15. And they did so from morning to night. And they afterward returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they always did 4 times in the year. Understand that just as Sodom and Gomorrah has 4 different types of seasons, we got many seasons. We got Labor Day, Memorial Day, Haitian Day, you could Puerto Rican Day, you know what I'm saying? All types of parades. You could dress half naked. You could, and we call it a costume, right? We could all do these like things. And because of this, around that particular time, it didn't mean nothing for me to take my neighbor's wife and sleep with her, or his virgin daughter and sleep with her. It didn't mean nothing. Nobody ain't say a thing. So Sodom and Gomorrah learned all of these tricks and these traits. He understood certain things. You dig what I'm saying? Just like us today, we learned certain tricks and certain traits when you come up. We had our pastime in evil things. Those that's trying to change over, you can understand what you left now. And once you understand what you left, you should be able to put something out. Put something out positive to help another man get up out of his wickedness, right? You throw a cord out there and show him something. Come on, bro. This is not part of us. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Lot actually learning from the thing that he's seen in that land and not being like them, he actually was vexed with the conversation and the things that he's seen and said, yo, you know what? Because I'm not going to go to the mountain to meet up with my uncle, man, let me go over here and let me chill and go in this land. It's not like, to say the least, you never had a wife before, Lot. It's not, to say the least, that you didn't get 4 daughters from your wife. So a man knows what a feeling of when he meets his wife or he meets a woman. Here it is, your wife just got turned into a pillar of salt. You went to a land where there was no woman, no man in sight, and it's just you and your 2 daughters. I don't care how drunk a man get. You know when someone is on top of you or doing something that you never consented to. You a father. You know what I'm saying? So again, the filthiness of the things that we learn, and yet we try to carry and think, you know what, I can be able to do better. A man that sells drugs on the corner and he winds up getting locked up. Another man is going to rise up in his stead and sell drugs on that same corner. Never learns. He just figured it out. You know what? Instead of me standing out and about, I'm going to have somebody else. You know, they're going to come to me, tell me what they want, and I'm going to send them to somebody else. Yet he gets knocked off. What happens then? Somebody else rises up in their stead. It's just a continued process. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope we learn from all of these things that we are doing, because it's not right. It's really not right. So we're going to go to the next part in Wisdom of Solomon, which is verse 9. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 9. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. This right here was the situation of Isaac's wife. She was battling, and she has 2 nations within her womb, and she couldn't understand this. She couldn't understand, why am I going through these pains like this? Has any other women ever went through pains like this? You know what I'm saying? She couldn't understand it. So there was a thing that was going on, and I'm going to go to the precepts on this so we could be able to understand. You're going to go to Genesis chapter 25. This is Genesis chapter 25, verse 19 through 21. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac, verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22. I'm going to read to 22, actually. Actually, I'm going to read from 19 to 26, but this is verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. 80 old. Each score is 20. 80 is 60 years old. So he was 60 years old when he bared his first group of kids. And these particular people, these two particular men that was coming out, one was of a different color or of a different race of two nations. So Esau and Jacob, they are brothers, yes, but these two particular people, they're going to be warring with each other. You get what I'm saying? It's the same way as Cain and Abel. And understand this. Give me a second just to get up the precept so I could be able to give you why I'm telling you this. This is Genesis chapter 4, verse 14 and 15. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. Verse 15. And the Lord said unto him, he's talking to Cain. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Understand, that same mark that he put on Cain is Esau. Again, this man is being born from two black nations, two manner of black people. This man came out red all over like a hairy garment. When Isaac seen this, he's like, damn, what is this? Esau's name in translation means he wasted. So when Isaac seen his son, why would Isaac look at his son and be like, damn, yo, he wasted? His name is Esau. You know what I'm saying? So understand that when these things was going on, just as God put that mark on Cain, it came to pass as he came out again as Esau. Esau is Cain all over again. As you can clearly see, Esau is not doing the part that he was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I hope y'all understood that. I'm going to go to Romans chapter 9 and get the precept to this. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. I say that again. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Why would God say that? Why would God hate one nation or the nations that was wrestling in this woman's belly? Why would he say, I hate that? I love this part right here though. Jacob, Israel, right? So we have to, take hold of the things that, this is a blessing to be loved by God. You dig what I'm saying? It really is a blessing to be loved by that man. We don't even know how good we got it. I don't deserve anything from that man after doing all of the things in life that I have done. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go to Obadiah. It's only one chapter, but I want to go to a verse in it. We're going to go to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, And they shall kindle in them, and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord hath spoken it. He is not playing with you. But guess what? You don't want to be a part. You like Esau. I like my white friends. I like the Gentile setting. I like doing these type of things. You think these people love you the way God love you? Right? You think they'll lay down their life for you the way God laid down his life for you? He said that, yo, they are going to be for stubble, man. Waste. Why would God say that? But you got to be a part. If you mingling with Esau and you doing the things that Esau is doing and you picking on the things of his life, man, listen, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have a problem. I'm telling you now. Go to Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Understand the reason why God has a problem with Esau is because of the fact Esau was out in the field trying to get something to eat, hungry, feel me? And because of this thing, he decides to come in, see his brother making a thing of pottage soup. Yo, bro, feed me, man. I'm hungry. I need something to eat. And he's like, yo, check it. I'll feed you, but you sell me your birthright. If you sell me your birthright right now, I'll give you this soup. I'll give you some soup right now. And he did it. He said, what this birthright got to do with me? I don't care about this birthright. This birthright ain't got nothing to do with me. Take this. So because of this type situation, you have to understand that when you wager or you do something against God, or you say, yo, what good is it of my good use to do anything as far as worshiping God? You should not say this because you don't know what it is that you're saying. You dig what I'm saying? A lot of people say certain things and they don't realize that they are saying certain things that they should not say. And let me show you what I'm talking about. This is in the Apocrypha. I'm going to just close out this lesson. This is in the Apocrypha, This is in the Apocrypha, Sirach, chapter 11, verse 23. Say not, what profit is there of my service? And what good things shall I have hereafter? You should not want to say that. You don't really know what it is that you are saying. You dig what I'm saying? Just do whatever it is that you are prescribed to do. It's not for you to worry about the things that's in secret, the things that's hidden from you. He's just asking you to do a thing. You know what I'm saying? If you do this thing, you might never know what you're going to walk into. You could walk into a blessing, but you could block your blessing if you don't walk into it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, let's not get too far, but let's not be lack. Let's try to get together and try to do something a little bit more positive. Let's try to do something towards ourselves to make ourselves applicable towards this course right here, man. Get ready for it. Peace and blessings, family. I hope this helps those. Again, this is not all of the creation. It's so much. It's so much more, but I'm trying to, work on pieces of everything so we could be able to have understanding in all things. You know what I'm saying? That particular situation with Lot, that particular situation with these group of men, we can learn from it. You know what I'm saying? Kwame Asharala, Israel.